Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Elden Ring walkthrough. In this episode, we're going to accomplish a couple of things. I'm planning on doing two dungeons, and also show you some stuff on the map, and we'll go pick up a few items. So first things first, let's jump onto the map. And I want to show you that by using the A button, we can place beacons. You can place up to 5 at a time. So the first one that we're going to do is we're going to put a beacon here. This is going to be the Limgrave tunnels. So we're going to come back out here to the path. We'll go around. I'm going to show you this, this telescope here. And then there's a couple of other things that we'll do here, and then we're going to come down. So, sorry, I'm not being super descriptive, but you'll kind of see what it is we're going to be doing. So we'll head down there, and then we'll come back up here to the Church of Ella, or the first step, and then we'll work our way up here to this area and clear one other dungeon. So, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm just in the Groveside Cave where we finished up last time. So let's just go ahead and take down some of these guards here. Might as well do that and get some runes so that we can level up a little bit more. And I think that might be a new crafting item over here that we have not picked up yet. Nope, we've gotten that one. That is the root resin. All right, let's go ahead and take Torrent, and we will ride on over. So you can see our beacons here. This one is our first one, which is where the cave is going to be, but be careful because we don't want to fall down that cliff. So like I said, there is fall damage, and you can also die from falling. You can fall pretty far, so but still be careful. And before we head over there towards the telescope, let's take a look at these giant swords in the ground. So that was the other side of grace that we got an episode or two ago. So let's hop off Torrent and take a look at this. Godric the Golden, humiliated, having tasted defeat by the blade of Mikola, now on his knees, begging for mercy. So we're going to find a few of these. I'm not really sure what they're called. I think they kind of look like sword graveyards. They're kind of cool looking, and they kind of tell a story. So we'll see if we can put stuff together as we go through. Let's see if we can take this guy down. Be careful with these guys. They are pretty tough. And if you can get them off of the horse, then you can do a critical hit on them when they're on the ground. Okay, so we did hear some talking in the background. These guys can drop some pretty decent armor.
Why won't anyone look me in the eye? I'm not that ugly, am I?
Alright, so there's somebody talking around here. When you just walk through this, it will take it off of the map. So here's the telescope that we saw on the map. Let's go ahead and take a look in it. So this just gives us kind of an aerial view, or bird's eye telescopes. You can use the bird's eye telescopes found in various areas to get a bird's eye view of the terrain in the direction that the telescope is facing. So you can use your camera and kind of move it around. You can see there's one of those minor Erd trees. You can hear some talking. That's where we started, that building right there with the kind of that statue on top. That's the Church of Ella. And there is Stormvale Castle that we've been hearing about. And Y to end. So that's the bird's eye telescope. Nothing super spectacular, but kind of a cool, different view of things. And remember, make sure that you get those skulls.
Oi,
And we got an Arteria leaf.
you there? Could you help us out, Cully?
All right, let's go ahead and read that one real quick. That one's a material used for crafting, exceedingly rare to find. And by exceedingly rare, it is not all that rare. So we'll be finding quite a few of those. Dark red leaves with thick, swollen veins. Material used for crafting. A faint pulse can be felt in the veins. Stirs the blood, providing an enlivening effect.
I'm not that ugly, am I?
Alright, so I don't see anybody over here. But if you kind of look around, you can see that this little bush right here seems a little bit different and out of place-ish. So you can swing your sword at it or roll through it.
What'd you go and do that for?
So he didn't realize that he was under a spell, I guess. So let's talk to him.
Oh, yes. I remember. Some clod turned me into a tree. You were just breaking the spell, weren't you? Thank you. The name's Bok. I was pushed out of the cave. Told not to come back. Not ever. Then I ended up as a tree. Lucky you came along, really. Oh, what a shame. When they threw me out of the cave, they took everything I owned. And so this is all I have to express my thanks. I hope you can forgive me.
You give us some mushrooms, which we've already had those before. I'm not sure why it brings up the big text box.
Or, if you can afford to wait for a while, I could sneak back into the cave and bring back something of actual value. Then I'd be of some real use to you, I reckon. Right, but I'll need a moment. I'm frightened of them, so I have to gather myself. My knees start knocking, just thinking about that god-awful cave on the shore. Right, but I'll need a moment. I'm frightened of them, so I have to gather myself. My knees.
Okay, so he's repeating his dialogue there, so there's nothing else that we can do with him or for him right now. So the next thing that we're going to do, let's head on down to that cave. We can go ahead and ride Torrent. And I don't think there's really anything else over in this field quite yet that we want to do. Let's use Glintstone Art, see if we can take all of these guys out at once. Nice. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I really like the Glintstone sorceries. They're really neat. Okay, so when you're coming down this way, you do want to be pretty careful once you get down to the water. Be very careful going towards that bonfire. If you get too close to it, there is a world event that will happen, so we will be doing that a little bit later, but for now, just be cautious, and I would say try to stick to the right side of this wall here. The most annoying enemies in the entire game. These stinking dragonflies. Not too bad if you have whiskey. Okay, so we got the dragonfly head. let's take a look at that real quick. So that one is a crafting item found by hunting large dragonflies. Long believed to have the ability to neutralize poisons. So that'll be good for crafting, neutralizing boluses, which will help with poison stuff. These guys are called spouts, I think, or yeah, something spouts. If you just do a charged heavy, that will break their guard and they'll fall over. There's another thing that we'll learn about them in a little bit. Oh, dragonfly, where'd you go? Okay. So these guys, they spit out poison. You can see that I'm getting the poison buildup. And of course he comes out to play. Oh yeah. This is no bueno. Oh, that magic is doing good. Oh, there we go. I got so lucky. Alright, so also beware of that crab. For some reason, we got crab eggs, strip of white flesh. Alright, he didn't seem too annoying, but he is. I thought that the crab was a lot closer to that little wall over there, so that was my fault for not paying better attention. These guys, you can just spam your attack and take them down, no problem. Or you can do that charged heavy and critical. So let's take a look at the items that we just picked up. We got the strip of white flesh found by hunting bloodless creatures. Thin strips of flesh taken from the bloodless creature. The dried meat toughens the constitution, boosts resistance. It's known for its long-lasting effect. So I think that, if I remember correctly, that one is... I forgot to read that, sorry. Immunity. Yeah, it said that it boosts immunity, so let's take a look. That one again is resistance to poison and rot. So if you're in an area where you know there's a lot of poison and rot, it's a good idea to have those because that can help prevent the buildup of that. So apologize, I feel like I'm losing my voice a little bit. I will try to make sure I'm speaking loud enough. Alright, so here's a cool trick in the tunnels. There is an elevator that you can ride down. However, in most of the tunnels, if you roll down to the left or just kind of walk down, there's these little extra tunnel pathways on the outside of it. So it's a good chance to find some items. Especially later in the game, there's going to be some tunnels that we find with really good stuff. So this one was a rune, but that one's worth 1,200. So if we were to break that one open, we would have almost double or more than double what we currently have. So we might actually use that one to level up. It's not a bad idea. All right, and we'll fall down here. You don't necessarily have to roll forward like that. If you just keep walking forward and fall, you're going to be just fine. Okay, so this is where the elevator would bring us down. There's nothing there. So if we wanted to go back up, we can pull this lever, and that will lower the elevator for us. But let's go ahead and rest here. And do we have enough to level up right now? We do. We've got at least one. Go ahead and put that one in strength, and that'll get us up to 10. And one other thing I want to check is the flail. So with the flail, we do need 18 dexterity to be able to use it effectively. It's a little unfortunate for this cave, but we can still try it out. Well, let's give it a shot. The enemies in here are pretty weak to strike enemies, so, or not enemies, but strike weapons. And they're also very susceptible to magic. So let's try it out. Even without the flail being at full strength, we're doing a fair amount of damage. If we could hit him. Yeah, that's not going to be good. Alright, we'll just use the glintstone. But let me just show you also with the sword. It's basically going to do the same as what the flail was doing, even though they're weak to that type of damage. Swords basically don't do anything to them. So I'll just show you on this guy. So you can see even that jumping heavy attack, I only did like 15 points of damage. So if you have or if you meet the requirements to use the flail, I would highly recommend it. Or use the magic that you have. So we've already picked up a couple of the smithing stones. So that's going to be really good. And we'll come back around this way. And there is a guy over here. You can see that the glintstone pebble works really well. And be careful coming in here. There's some rats. And it is pretty dark, so just be aware of that. I could have used the arc there and done damage to both of them at the same time, but I've got refills, so I'm not too worried about it. I don't think there's any items over here. There's not, so... Alright, let's just run down here. Get this item, which is another smithing stone 1. And I'm pretty sure that I've already read that description. I didn't read this one, though. The crab eggs, found by hunting large crabs. Eggs of large crabs which dwell in the shallows. A nutritious foodstuff that warms from within. The flavor is exquisite. Only those of comfort and means know the truth. A crab's eggs are more delectable than its meat. All right, so let's go ahead and continue. Obviously, that's where we came down from. So, pretty obvious, just go straight forward. And let's see what we find. Got another elevator. Which means I think that we can also drop down to the left side of this one as well. I'm not sure if there's any items over here, though. No, there are not. But that's okay. Doesn't hurt to check. All right, and here we are at the bottom. Don't need that anymore. Let's go ahead and bring the elevator down because we will need to go back up on that one. All right, just follow this hallway down. Got a dog in there. Another dog here. Okay. Go ahead and heal. And he did not drop anything. And there's one more guy over here. Perfect. So let's come on up in here. We will get a large glintstone scrap. So that's going to be good for characters, or, you know, when you're playing your own game and your character doesn't use magic. This is going to be good if you want to try and use some magic spells. It's just an item that you break and it uses FP and it produces magic bolts. So it's a large piece of glintstone tinged with unstable magic found in crystal tunnels. Break the gem using FP to produce a magic bolt. Poor quality and thereby easily broken. A sorcerer wouldn't give it a second look, which is typically true, but I will give it a second look just because I think it would be good to show you guys. So I'll put that on my inventory, like the belt items or inventory slots there. So the next time I press the X button, I will cast it or throw it. Then come back here for another hidden smithing stone. And over here where we killed this guy, we've got another smithing stone. All right, so this seems like a dead end, which this is, but we still haven't found the boss of this tunnel. So let's go find that real quick. So if we come back up here facing this way, we roll off here. There is another secret tunnel. You can see we've got our Stake of America. So if we die, that's where we will be. Sorry, my words are leaving me. That's where we'll be revived instead of at the top. So let's go ahead and use this item. See what happens. Just break it. And then it shoots those bolts. So not super effective, but it can be helpful if you are against enemies like these that are really weak against magic. Another smithing stone. So it can be useful for sure. And a glintstone scrap. So another similar one, but this one's even smaller. Found in crystal tunnels. Break the gem, poor quality, thereby easily broken. Pretty much the same item description, other than this one's found, yeah, the size of them. They're going to look a little bit different. And here's something that's really fun. If we go to item crafting, bummer, we don't have any. If you have the ability and the items to craft a fire pot, I would highly recommend trying it out. If you throw one at one of these enemies that has the baskets on the back, the pieces in that basket are going to explode. So it's really cool. It causes a lot of damage. All right, so I'm completely out of FP, which means I won't be able to cast magic and I won't be able to summon for the boss fight, which is fine. This boss isn't terribly tough, but without those things, I will honestly probably die using the sword. So let's just give it a shot. The worst that's going to happen, Golden Rune 1, and the worst that's going to happen is that we go back to the Stake of America, everything's refilled, and we try it again. And this is going to be a Somber Smithing Stone 1, which is going to reinforce special armaments. We have not come across those yet. Those are going to be more of like unique weapons. So once we get those, we'll use the Somber Smithing Stones to upgrade them. Shard of Smithing Stone drained of color. Strengthens special armaments to +1. Special armaments with unique characteristics cannot be strengthened with colored smithing stones. Number of steps and amount strengthened differ from standard equipment. So with standard equipment, you can upgrade those. I think it's to level 25, 24 or 25. With the unique or special equipment, you can get those up to +10. I don't think there's any enemies down here. No, there's not. So just another smithing stone, which is great that we've gotten so many. So we'll be able to upgrade some weapons fairly soon. All right, so I've got one heal and I have no magic. So we'll just use the sword. Let's see what happens. So we are going in here up against the Stone Digger Troll. He's got some really big, heavy attacks, so just be careful. Oof. Heavy attacks and jump attacks are going to be your friend for sure. Trying to break his poise. If you have a hammer or magic, which I obviously didn't, but we'll do that this time with magic, and you'll be able to see how much more effective it is. But if you have like a hammer or a flail or some type of weapon that does blunt or strike damage, you're going to be doing so much better on that. All right, so we don't really need to fight these guys again unless you want to. You can just come this way and roll down. I don't believe that they're going to follow us that far. Okay, and you can run across the elevator just as long as you don't hit that button in the middle. You'll be fine. It's not going to take you back up. All right, so two things to consider. One, since we do, well, I guess I could, no, I didn't have FP to use that, so I couldn't have. Using your summons is definitely an option, which I probably will do that. But the other thing to consider is that because we died, we want to make sure that we pick up our runes. So you can see the item right here. So just make sure that you pick those up. Okay. And you can see just how much this magic is doing. The wolves aren't really doing a whole lot of damage to him. However, what they're doing is they're making him stagger, and they're kind of stunning him. So let's go ahead and refill our FP. Get ready to heal. All right, so all of our wolves are gone, but we're going to beat him this time. There we go. Yeah, so having the right type of weapon against enemies is very useful. Was it the best idea to come in here without the right stuff? Maybe. But magic is very effective against them. So, and then what we picked up was the Roar Medallion, which enhances roars and breath attacks. A bronze medallion depicting a roaring giant enhances roars and breath attacks. In ancient times, the giants were mortal enemies of the Erd Tree. Their bellowing roars desolated nature, triggered avalanches, and whipped up storms of flame. Right, and let's go ahead and return to the entrance in just a second. Let me make sure. Yes, I did pick up my runes, so make sure you pick those up if you die. So we have 3,333, which is going to help a lot. Plus, we have that golden rune 4. And this early in the game, it might be useful to actually use that one, just so that we can get some extra levels right now. So let's go ahead and do that. And because we would have to go down the elevator, we'll just use the map and fast travel to this one, the Ag Hill Lake North. All right, so I know at the beginning I said that we were going to do 2 graves or 2 dungeons, but I'm already at about 30 minutes right now, so we'll probably just do 1, but I'm going to show you where the next one is in just a moment. So let's go ahead and level up. Let's see how many we can do. We can do 4. So getting to 16 dexterity for my character is actually not a bad idea, because 1, we'll be able to start using the flail a lot sooner, and some of the other weapons that we're going to use later will need, I think it's either 18 or 20 points in dexterity. So getting yourself prepared for weapons is a good idea as well. So we'll go ahead and do that. Yes. And So I still need 1400 for another level up. So it's not really worth using all of the other runes that I have. So let's see here. Was there anything else I wanted to do yet? No. Okay. So let's go ahead and fast travel over to the church. Yeah, let's go ahead and go to the Church of Ella. And then I'll show you the map one more time. I said we're going to come over here to this area, but there's a statue that I want to show you. Let's get on Torrent. And if we come up on this hill here, we'll see this statue. So if you come across these in the world, definitely walk up to them and examine them, because we can't really see where the next place is to go, or the next tunnels, or what this one is called the catacombs. So guide and gatekeeper for those returning to the roots. Right, so this is called a Rosus statue. We'll come across more information about this person a little bit later, but you can see the little beam of light pointing in that direction, which is right over here. And that's where we're going to go next time. So thank you again for joining me, and I will see you in the next episode.